Hello guys, and welcome back to another book video. I feel like it's been years since I've made a video about reading books because I've been so into movies and TV shows lately that I haven't really had the time to read anything, but I'm going to be talking about my 5 favorite books I've read so far this year. Also, just a random thing, but I know that the glasses are new. I have not too bad of a prescription, but my other ones were just so old and they weren't helping me at all, so now that I have my updated one, I feel so much better and my eyes have been hurting so much. So anyways, I can finally see, so I'll be telling you guys my favorite books so far. So the first two I'm going to talk about kind of go hand in hand with each other, and I'm kind of upset I don't have the same book cover like styles, but I read 4th and 5th book for Percy Jackson. I read these in, I think, January or February, but oh my gosh, February. Yeah, February. I read these two at the beginning of the year, and I am surprised with how much I like them. I really like the Percy Jackson series, but I don't know, since it's aimed at kids, reading it when I'm actually like an adult now, when it's based on kids, I don't know, I feel like I can't relate to the characters that much, but these are so good and I'm so like impressed with Rick Riordan's writing and just everything that he does. Some things I love about the 4th one is just the like how he's able to do a completely different story through every book but still like keep you entertained. I feel like he would just be able to like keep the same formula and just put like different characters and different monsters or whatever in, but he's able to do something in every book that just still keeps you so interested and tight and I don't know, just so into these characters and this story, and I wasn't bored for a single thing of it. I really am. I like to say I'm a fast reader, but this took me so long to read just because it has been so busy so far this year with job changes and just being really mentally tired, but I loved this book and I'm so glad that I got a chance to read it. The 5th one was just also like everything I was expecting and more, and I just had so much fun reading it. After watching the show that came out on Disney Plus, I think I have more of an appreciation for the books just because like I love watching like physical media like movies and interviews and TV shows like that. I just love watching that, and that's what I love spending my time doing. So when I'm actually able to visualize a character and who I should be like seeing in my head, I have such a better time. So reading this after watching the show was 10 times better for me, but I really like this book. I like the way it ended. I love Percabeth so much, but I'm just so happy with the way it ended. And then I tried to read the next installment of books. I don't remember what they're called, like The Son of Neptune, I want to say. I tried to read it and I wasn't that far into it, but I think it's just because I'm so attached to these characters and everything that they are, so I really want to read them again. A book series that I wasn't planning on ever getting into and I finally decided to is Bridgerton, and I read Benedict's book. This one I want to say is the 3rd or 4th one made, and it's called An Offer from a Gentleman, and it is truly one of the best romance books I have ever read in my life. I know there's a lot of hate around Bridgerton, or there's people who obsess over it. I feel like there's no in between, but I really like the show and I'm really interested in it, and I love like just a timepiece like that. I love movies that are in a different time, and especially romance ones, because it's just so interesting. Benedict has always been one of my favorite characters, and I am literally counting down the days until his season comes because I'm waiting for it, and this book just made me so much more excited for it. It follows Benedict and then this girl named Sophie. I like can't even talk about it without getting giddy just because I literally read this in like 3 days. It's a pretty thick book, but like the pages are super small, but this is like the perfect size book to me because I can put this in my purse and still have all my other crap in it and have room for it. I just love what Julia Quinn did with this story and the way it's like a Cinderella retelling and just the love that they have towards each other. I love when a romantic book has like all that banter, but then you can clearly tell like the girl fell first but the guy fell way harder, and oh my gosh, it's my favorite trope. And just reading this book got me so excited for his season, and I read 2 other Bridgerton books after that because I was like, I need more of this writing. It is so interesting and so good. So I highly recommend reading them. They, in my opinion, are better than the show, but I think it's just because they're able to have more storytelling and more of an arc throughout it, and they're not having to add this other stuff to get the runtime in its own area. But this is really good and I highly recommend it. I know for a fact I've talked about this author before because she is probably my favorite and I talk about her all the time, but I read Carrie Soto's Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Taylor Jenkins Reid is like, I want to say my favorite author just because I can't think of anybody else right now, but her books are truly insane and they just make me have so much more of an appreciation for authors because of the way that she writes books. I am not a fan of the books that have that like fluffy writing that's like the grass is green and it did this and this and this. I'm like, I don't need to know that. I just want to know the story You don't need to give me all these extra words. I want to know the story, and I want a good story. Her ability to just, oh my gosh, I can't even find the words, but her just storytelling and the way she carries along a story is so interesting and so enticing. And I love that she never has the cliches, or it's just, you never know what's gonna happen, and I love that aspect of it. This book is about a tennis player, oh my gosh, a tennis player who took her job so seriously that she just always wanted to win and always wanted to be the best, and she beat like everybody, and then she had to retire because she got injured, and then she thought that this new and upcoming tennis player was gonna beat her, so she like gets back into the game, and she's training with her dad, who used to be her coach, and I just loved the relationship they had and the character dynamics. And Carrie, even though I'm not a super I'm not a super competitive person unless it is like Mario Kart or Just Dance, but seeing her eyes on competitiveness kind of gave me a better outlook on people who think that way. My boyfriend is very competitive, and I can never understand because my brain is just not wired that way, but seeing the way that Taylor described competitiveness in this book was so interesting and gave me a lot more perspective on it, and I really liked that aspect of it. I highly recommend this book, even if you're not a tennis fan. She doesn't talk too much about like the tennis matches, just because I think so many people don't know tennis, but like she definitely knows her stuff, and Carrie Soto is amazing, and I want her to be a real person. Last but not least, the last book I read this year was Surrender Your Story. This book is by Tara Sun, and she actually goes to my church, and that's how I found out about the book, but I cannot recommend this book enough. And it's not just for women, for men too, because this book is just so amazing, and I love the story that's with it. This book is about ditching what you think that your life should be and what the plans that you have, and just give it all to God and surrender to Him. Surrender your story, obviously. And it just gave me such a better outlook on life, and I felt so at peace after reading it. Just a little like behind the scenes about the author. She was going to college to be a doctor, I think, and then God told her like plain and simple, like, you're not supposed to be here. And she was like, excuse me? Like, what is that supposed to mean? Like, what am I supposed to do? And she is just going along the lines with it, and she thinks that she can do all these things with her life, and she has this plan and this plan, and she has this timeline set up, but it just shows that God has the plan. He isn't going to show it to you in full. You just need to trust in Him, you need to surrender to Him, and He will make your paths straight. Proverbs 3:5-6 is my favorite verse so far, just because I can be really impatient, and I don't like when things aren't in control. I'm a very type A person. I need this plan, this plan, this plan. I need my day set up. I need a schedule, and it just shows a different aspect on it, and how we can't always plan out our whole life, and we can't always plan for all these things, because sometimes the unexpected happens, but we need to trust that God has a plan and that it's not just going to go haywire all the time. So that is just some of the books I've read this year. I really haven't had time in the past couple months to read with my job change and it just being really busy. I've been watching so many movies. I'm rewatching the Marvel movies, so I'm planning on making a video of me ranking all of those and talking about my favorites and things I would change about others. So I'm planning on making a video on that. I am watching Black Widow right now, so I'm definitely over halfway done, but still, there's so many Marvel movies now. I remember when it was just 20 and I could watch them all in a week and it was great, but now it's like, I have to watch all of this. I am not rewatching the shows though. I don't feel that it's necessary. I might rewatch Falcon and the Winter Soldier just because I love it so much, but I don't have time for that. I really want to get back into reading soon, but books are so dang expensive, and the used bookstore that I usually go to hasn't been having the ones that I'm looking for, and I don't know if my book taste has just like changed or evolved, or I'm just blind and can't see anything, but I'm definitely planning on getting some more books soon and making a Barnes & Noble trip. I have a very long list of books that I am wanting to read and get into, so I'm planning on doing that soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have book recommendations, please comment down below because I am always looking for new things to read and new things to put in my mind, so thank you so much.